Hello and welcome to Warblog. This is a quick introduction to this game which I've just put together. It's the South Sudanese Civil War, 2013-2014. Essentially, I've only just put it together, so I'm just sort of working through some of the basics. It's a bit hard to get your head around, but it is actually sort of pretty much just sort of like a civil war in kind. The little video, if you look back at the main page, there's a YouTube video. That's actually pretty good at explaining the politics behind it, and I think you sort of need to understand that to understand what actually happened. But just to put it into perspective, you've got the government troops, and then you've got basically the SPLM. I'm not sure I really want to bother explaining what that means, but for the SPLM you have the SPLM-IO. They're the rebels basically. And what that means is SPLM in opposition. And then you have the SPLA for the government, and then you have the SPLA rebels. So basically there's the SPLM and the SPLA. Let me see if I can figure out. So the SPLM is Sudan People's Liberation Movement, and the SPLA is the Sudan People's Liberation Army. So A is for army, M is for movement, IO in opposition or rebels. So once you get your head around that, it's fine. You also got some Ugandan units. The Uganda provides some help. UNMISS, which are the UN troops, who take a bit of a pounding. Ugandan MiGs, Ugandan support infantry. Armed youths, which is quite interesting. There's a few of those. Most of this is sort of based on deconstructing the Wikipedia article. It's not very clear, and I don't think it is very clear. I think I probably need to spend weeks preparing a sort of an accurate simulation. So for the hours I put in, a couple of hours, I think I've done okay. I think I made a mistake doing all desert. I sort of thought Sudan was all deserty, but when you look at it on Google Maps, it's not really, and it should be bush. This stuff is bush, this is scrub, and this is desert. I can't really sort of change it all on the fly. I should have, as set up, I set everything as something like jungle. Yeah. So anyway, the terrain's not ideal, but it's a bit different to what we normally have. These are the borders. Let me just maybe confirm which one's which. So what we have down here is Uganda. Pretty much. That's interesting because Kaya is Kaya this side or the other side? Okay, it doesn't really make too much. We've got Uganda there. I think it's Tanzania, isn't it? We've got Uganda here. At some point down here, and maybe the border is here, or maybe I've missed it, or maybe I haven't, maybe it's just about here. We've got the Democratic Republic of Congo. Over to the east, although it's not on the map at all, so it's fairly irrelevant, we've got the Central African Republic. So down here, because I haven't got the whole of South Sudan in the game. So down here we've got Kenya, Ethiopia. This is the Ethiopian border here, just poking in. And what sort of struck me, I think the biggest learning curve for me, is that South Sudan is not a region of Sudan, it's a country in its own right. And I think what you find is, and I don't know, I think there was some proper Sudanese civil wars. I think there's the first and second Sudanese civil war. This South Sudan civil war is actually for a country called South Sudan, so it's it's a disparate. Basically, it's a completely separate entity, not a region, which I thought it was. So anyway, you live and learn, which is the whole point of doing these things. So essentially, my take on what I read was it's quite basically starts here in the capital, Juba. They're basically disarming all the troops, but they then rearmed the government troops, and let's get the Wikipedia here so I can get a little more specific. Basically, they took all the guns off of all the troops, and then they reopened the armaments and rearmed the Dinka soldiers only, which is basically the government side. The newer soldiers, and this gets into ethnic changes, and I don't really know what the difference is. They weren't given guns, so they basically got pretty angry. And it started off with a fist fight. I thought that was quite ironic, really. It starts off with a fist fight, and then you end up with sort of fairly major tank engagements. So they rearm themselves. So basically, I'm starting out because of the scale of this game. We can't sort of have them in the barracks. They didn't take over the whole capital, but this is a rebel unit. First, I'm using one turn per day, or just as a rough guide. It's certainly defined that way in relation to the way the reinforcements or the additional units come onto the map. But so essentially, each turn is a day. The United Nations units are not going to engage in combat. So it starts off with this unit in here, and they basically spend the first few days in intense politics. I think if you look at the video, they arrest the rebel leader, and he flees north, where he basically declares the revolution, the civil war. So the first 4 days there's not a lot of combat. So it's the government turn, and I think the only thing that they can do is try and take the capital back. Now, I don't think they can. But, just to represent the clashes that were going on, and we're not going to include the UN troops, we'll do this. So there was a 1-to-1 odd, which was quite interesting. I didn't think it'd be that good. So that was a pretty bad die roll. So the government has failed to take back their capital, and again, just to reiterate that they didn't. The initial first few days were not intense combats. It was more politics, some minor skirmishes, some sort of some sort of clashes outside the university between troops. The university just had to be the venue, not students. So anyway, they basically failed. So that's interesting. Put that into perspective. Now, obviously, the government doesn't really know that there is a civil war, so it's not really going to start moving its troops. Now, I've looked at the itinerary, I maybe know where some of the troops are coming from, but I don't. So now it's the rebels' turn. Well, they're in the capital, and so that's really all they've got. So we're going to take the capital. Okay, so just a slow connection there. So it's basically now government forces turn 2, and as you can see, we're now challenging the capital, which is now neutral blue. So we're taking that from green, hopefully through to red. as you can see, we've got some more rebels, and part of this is artistic license, but I have basically stuffed a whole bunch of rebels around the country. As you can see, a lot of these are green, but you should be able to spot the important ones. Ventu, there's a lot of fighting there. Bor, a lot of fighting there. Malakal, a lot of fighting there. And Jubal. Everything else is a minor objective. Akobo was a UN base that was attacked, so that's got more than 10. So basically you can tell the importance of them by the numbers. The ones that are 10 are just outlying towns that serve minimal historic purpose or reference, but you know, you can take what you want. So the game should get a little deeper and deeper as it goes by. I think what I am going to do, well, maybe not. There are a couple of little things, because of trying to model something that had a historic course of events. It's actually really not possible to say, okay, in 20 turns the situation would be like this. And there is one little situation where, fairly important, this is, I can't remember what this is, Unity area. It's not the Unity area, so it's basically Upper Nile. So this is Upper Nile, where all the oil fields are. There was a major tank engagement here. Well, you know, how do I sort of model that? So I just plonk, basically on turn like 20 or something, all these tanks just appear next to each other, and yeah, you'll fight. But you know, the thing is, what I'm sort of doing here is going to maybe clear this by moving these youths, which is quite interesting. Oh, this is the government forces first. So now the government, is it disheartened? Retreating? Depression 2? I think it's going to try and recover. Interesting, really. It's a bit hard to sort of figure out which units are which. But, with this unit here, mechanized regiment, do I engage all these small rebel units in the area? Oh, these lot, with the support of this infantry. Do I take care of this part of the country, or do I head to the capital and try and get rid of these people? I'm going to head to the capital. I think I have to, really. Now, this is the first time I've played it, so I don't know how balanced it is. I still haven't figured out the movement. He's got way too much movement. He's still got 1.2 movement left. It's quite surreal. Yeah, that's halfway across the board in one turn. I will have to do something about the movement. He's still got some movement though, which means that an attack on the capital might not be difficult now. Two to one, maybe 3 to 1. 3 to 1, defender eliminated. Now that was a die roll of 1, so that was exceptionally good. It sort of makes up for the bad luck before. Obviously Superman played a role in that. He shouldn't have any movement left though. So we'll move back in and take Jubal, which is good news. That was exceptionally good news for the government forces. Little things like that I think actually, you know, define the way that this, you know, the historical, not narrative, the historical sort of reenactment shapes. You know, I mean, that was a fairly major battle, I think. You know, I can imagine the BBC talking about, you know, how clever the South Sudanese government were. But what I'm going to do here, I'm nearly at the end of the 15 minutes, so I'm going to take a break. But I'm going to come back and maybe make a go at this, because it's Friday and I feel like it. So I'll see you soon. So, continuation. Haven't really thought much about the strategy. I've just taken back the capital, Jubal, which is good. Now I've got to get rid of these pesky rebels. And that was only a little small unit. Where else have we got rebels? Big stack of rebels there. Some rebels there. I wonder why I didn't move these before. Well, it's a government move, so I'm going to leave everything as it is. Rebels. Okay, well, they're going to show their hand. Yeah, that looks funny. Well, I think I'm going to play this semi-historically, because essentially they did go and bash this UN unit here. I'm going to road movement needs to be sorted out. Lying around. I can't attack the capital now. And I certainly don't want to get caught too near that. There's not much I can do to get away from it. No depressions. I'm not sure that the rebels really have enough units to actually make a go of this. Okay, government units. Okay, so they've pretty much got the capital, and the capital is now green again. So they've recaptured the capital, but now they're running the risk of losing some small towns. Now he's entrenched there, he's probably going to have to come down and meet these units. These are all rebels. Probably have to come down and contest Adok. And do we leave Malakal city? Okay, I see an opportunity here, I think, to do some damage on this unit. Roll a 1, roll a 1. Yeah, it's about as good as me suddenly finding that I want to support Wales in the European Cup. The moment I switched on, who are these people? They're doing really well. That's not Wales. The other people do win, and the moment I figured out who they were, they started losing. I have that minus touch. 2-1. So that was an exchange. I think the outcomes of these battles are, I'm quite happy with them, because I sort of, I don't know, I just like the way that, we've now got an engagement down here. There's this second battle, the Battle of Jubel went well for the government. They followed out some units into the desert or bush, and they, even with all their heavy equipment, they failed to do anything. If you look at one of the videos where a guy report goes off with the government forces, you'd be surprised that this sort of thing is probably quite normal. Okay, so that's a failed attack there, but I think I'm going to try and move down here. Just to, it's going to be a 1-to-1, but I think a lot of these attacks are going to be 1-to-1s. How did he get 3-to-1? How did he get 3-to-1? Something wrong. Oh, unless. Oh, I know what's wrong. It's a 1-1-3, not a 1-2-3. The counter's written wrong. So that would have been a 1, he would have been a 3, so that makes sense. Defend and retreat, so that's a nice result for the government. Not enough movement to move in there, but Nagaro is now not going to be contested. Following on from that, I think I will push down here to defend Adok. And I'm not going to move out of there. It's too valuable, especially considering I've got all this. I've done that movement. They're rebels, so end of turn. It's chaos, really. I mean, it's quite hard to tell all the units apart. It's a bit frustrating. Maybe I should just completely different colour coded them, a bit like the Euro. Make sure they weren't wearing strips that look confusing. But it is confusing because they're actually the same units. The ones with the dots are the other one, the SPLA. So there's no difference there. You'll see more of these dots as they come into play. So it's now the opposition forces' turn. They're not doing very well down here. Could have gone better. They should have had some more units, to be quite honest. I think maybe. But this unit appears to have just appeared. Yeah, I seem to remember putting those in there for the very reason that I was getting a bit nervous. But this unit has just appeared. And Boar was... I can't get in there. Okay, well I'm going to try and take this down, just because it was historically something that they did. Fighting the that 1-to-1. I like these 1-to-1 attacks because they're not stupid, but they are the things that make or break a strategy. They're quite valid attacks. He's moved to there. He doesn't really have the strength. These should all be 1-1-3, not 1-2-3. It's just, fortunately, I should be able to repair that. Depression 2. I think he's going to try and recover. This guy is going to try and move. In this direction. Look at that. Okay, well, we get to take that town out. We can't attack. They are going to start harassing that now. They could have won there. He is going to go and move into Torret. Although he shouldn't have really moved because now he's not going to cover his depression. And this guy is going to recover. So these two towns are now contested. This town's contested. Look at that. Another rebel unit. Okay, I think the amount of rebel units here now outweighs the requirement for these units to do some damage. We've got more rebels here. This is one of the reasons I'm sort of playing this like this, because the balance of these rebels is actually not that easy to figure out, and I think it's working so far. Let's see. So I think we definitely, what we're going to do is also get the United Nations to move into Jabal. I think they'll be okay with that. I wonder why they can't move. It's probably because they don't have a factor for getting into there. I have slow connections. Buggering everything up now. Okay, so I've moved that unit into there and this unit into here. Good. It's not only depression, so I think I don't think he really has much choice. Why? Continues at this rate. Thank you. Generous of you. Okay. I want to get into Boer Town sometime this year. Okay, that at least gives me the chance to defend it. Not much I can do there. Look at that, youths. Now, a lot of these actually happened. I mean, these youths rose up, and I think they basically attacked this place here. They 2,000 of them, which by my reckoning is a regiment. I mean, that's not a small unit. That's an attack strength of 8. In fact, it's probably one of the most powerful forces on the board. And these are just armed youths. There's another one there, look. So I did these ones, the small ones, but this is specifically there. If you read the Wikipedia, they did something. And we're coming up to another break point. So it's the government forces. We're going to defend in there, and I'm not going to do this battle. I might do it in a bit. My connection is slow at the moment, so and then that's having a knock-on effect. It's taking a lot longer to upload the video, so I'm probably not going to do this video tonight. And if I do it tomorrow, then I'll do it, but this might be the last. See you later. Bye. Welcome back to the third part. Okay, so what's happening? Government turn. Now I've got to remember he's only worked one. He's got one depression. So it's probably worth attacking there. Three to one, which makes sense. And of course defender retreats, which is nice. I don't want to advance on that, but that puts him up 3 depressions, which means one of those is recoverable. Another battle won now, PR department. Again, another 3 to 1 opportunity here. And the DR. There's another PR opportunity there, with the rebels being repelled from Haddock. Possibly another opportunity here at 3 to 1. And an exchange. That wasn't required. What does that put these guys on now? Depression 4. So if you'd have looked at that, it would have been on Depression 3, which would have made his attack a little weaker. That wasn't good. Should have just held them there. Here it's a lot more serious. We've got some significant units. The best I can get is a 1 to 2, so I'm not going to do that. A better in defence. And here I think he's going to come out here and try and take these youths out. 3 to 1. Defender retreat. So that's good. Although I did forget about these youths. Okay, end of turn. Rebel turn. Okay, so bit by bit taking these towns. It's going to take a long time at any rate. I think I want to sort of maybe get this one over with, because this looks like a nice little battle. So 3 manpower against 2, so it's going to be 1 to 2. It's going to be 1 to 1, or possibly a 2 to 1 with the surround. 1 to 1. Attack and retreats. Yeah, it's not going very well for the rebels. How they retreated down there. The rebels just not getting the sort of victories that they need. But it's interesting. The zones of control don't seem to be working. Okay, not even thought of the odds here. 2 to 1 an exchange. United Nations troops fighting armed youths, which is what happened. So, a failed attack there. The rebellion is not going very well. We've got one more big number to crunch here. Okay, so the odds here are going to be about 12, 18, 19 versus 7. So it's going to be 2 to 1 with a surround, possibly 3 to 1. 1 to 2. Oh, that's right, because he's entrenched. But look at that. This is what the game's all about, really. It's all about those sort of like against the odds, fantastic victories. That's got to be a PR result for the rebels. So Boortown, which exchanged hands 3 times during the war, has now fallen to the rebels, and of course they're going to make sure they get in there because they're going to be pretty hard to get out. No movement. No one else can move in there. They've got to take. That's a good result for the rebels. I'm leaving there and attempt to recover. He's going to try and recover. Okay. Ooh, look at that. Even more reinforcements. Look at that. There's a solid element of rebels now. The government could do with reinforcing this. He's dug in now with 0 depression, so he's doing really well. He's dug in with 1 depression, so he's not going to move. Possibly attacking this unit with armed youths. 3 to 1, 4 to 1, defender eliminated. That's what the government forces want. And hopefully, with some movement left, you can reinforce Fangak. Against these armed youths who are still fairly effective. There's really not much that the government can do down here, other than maybe reinforce that. Depression 2. Not got any depressions. I think I've got to really start at least attempting to put myself in a position to eliminate as many units as I can. Defend the retreat. Oh, look, he's retreated into Democratic Republic of the Congo. I think that's what it's called. Okay, maybe the government don't have enough units. Opposition. Well, the youth are going to move toward Bentu city, Bentu, leaving that, testing these places. Possibly putting some pressure over here. Going to leave these to recover. He's doing his job down there. What we have now is the serious potential to do quite a bit here. Can't move there. So the zone of control to work if you enter a zone of control. It doesn't seem to be working if you're in a zone of control and you move into another zone of control. Okay. Armor. Something in there. No biggie though, because obviously 10, they've got 11 factors in there. Depression 2, depression 3, so they're slightly depressed. So that's 10, let's say 20, 12, 20, 27, 28. It's going to be a 1-to-1. Look at that, I got it almost perfectly there, 25 versus 23, because I didn't put these 2 1s in. If it had been the other way around, I would have been a bit gutted. But, unfortunately, it was an exchange. That was a sort of historic victory they were after. But it wasn't good enough. Okay, I think that's the end of the rebel turn. Government turn. The government don't really have much choice. I think they've just got to hold out there. And they could possibly attack this unit here. Could be a reasonable counter-offensive. We'll do that, just to maybe keep a little bit of pressure up on that, because I think it's going to be something like a 5-to-1. I mean, I could. Well, 4-to-1, so I didn't lose anything, and I've got to defend a retreat. So that's put a bit of pain on that. I'm not going to go into Congo. We now have some rebels there. Were they there before? I can't remember. Okay. Okay, well that's that. Okay, we'll check out Bentiu City. These are still going to try and recover. Okay, well, the break, I've upped the government units at start of play. They've got more companies just to give them some spread. That won't take effect in this game because it's going to actually load it in. But I have also changed these counters instead of saying 1, 2, 3, they say 1, 1, 3, which is what they should say. Just to make it a little simpler. So, government troops. So I can't see how the government can really. I mean, there are no government units. There's one here, one over here. I mean, these are some hanging in by their teeth. You know, everywhere you look, there's rebels. There's some government units here. There's not enough of them to even sort of give a sort of gameplay of any sort. And I don't want to move these. If there was a stack of 1, maybe, but he's stacked with an 8 defence. You know, that's just no point. So, but it's the opposition turn now. Well, I think it's quite clear that get a full surround here. Okay. Well, I don't think it gets any better than this. I mean, this could go either way. I mean, obviously, I feel that it's in the attacker's favour, but let's just maybe give it a bit of thought. 7 plus 3 is 10 plus 1, 11, but these are depression 4, depression 3, so you know, maybe about 8 or 9. They're in, I think they're actually only in light urban, so it's going to be like doubled to about 20. I think that's what they were on last time, but now they're entrenched, so that could give them, when they're dug in, so that could give them 1.5. So it's going to be about 30. So these have got 6, 14, 21, 22, 23, 24, 31, 39, plus 50%, that gives them some 45. It's still going to only be about sort of 1 to 1. But I don't want to uncheck any of these units just because I just don't want to sort of suffer the pain of it being so close. So 1 to 1 and exchange. It's exciting stuff. I mean, I sort of have a tendency to sort of think, oh, it didn't work, boo-hoo. You know, but it's sort of, you know, this is an epic battle. They're totally surrounded. They've got UN support in there, in their capital city. You know, Jabal, surrounded by rebels. You know, can they survive? Should they? They might be forced. The only thing here to say is that possibly a mistake leaving this unit here, because now this unit can counter-attack, at least give themselves some escape. But anyway, that's that. Rebel units, I think he's going to stay there and recover. These rebel units are still going to attempt to recover. We should now start to take these places out. He's going to move to war, and that's that. Okay, so the Ugandan units are coming in to save the day. Look at that. Government forces. One, 2, 3. See, I don't want to lose their dug-inness, so I think I'm just going to go directly like this. It's still going to be a 6 to 1, isn't it? I mean, let's face it, unless my maths is wrong. 7-1 because I had a surround, which put me up from 6 plus 10%, 6.6. Plus I'm mechanized versus only infantry. Plus he was depressed already by 0.3. Look at that, I've got the worst dice roll I could have had. But I think strategically thinking, looking at it, that has saved the day. The Ugandan forces have just saved Jabal by opening up this front here. Now, the Ugandan forces insert themselves there to at least give a retreat option, because otherwise they will next turn they will just move, shuffle round. Yep. Now the thing is, do they actually have any movement left? They do. So I can do one more assault onto that. Now I'm not happy with all this extended movement. I will do it, but in the meantime, they're really complaining every time they look like they're flying around. 7-1, defender eliminated. That was what we needed, because these units, I learned this in war games a long while ago. Even though a unit's not very big, they can still block, retreat path. But that has pretty much saved Jabal. I mean, they're still under siege, but they've got a retreat option down towards Lenya. The southern road is open now, and the game is not over for the government forces. However, this looks to be a new stack of rebels. That's right, a huge stack. What more did we need at this point, other than more rebels? An entire division. Okay. Yeah, the government really need more units. They don't really have anything else that they can do. Opposition forces. I think they're going. Now they don't have the surround, obviously, but I don't think they have much choice other than to at least try. Well, they've got the upper hand in this game. Ouch. They had the upper hand in this game. It's an interesting sort of set of retreat options. Well, at least they've got this massive stack over here. Ha! 4-1, defender eliminated. Yes, the rebels are showing their hand. Well, they're still recovering. that was a major loss. But they're making gains up here in the north. Oh look, that's strange because they're coming early. This is the tank engagement. There should be some other tank nearby. This is interesting because we've got the government forces cohabiting with these rebel forces. Now that can happen. It's because they were basically reinforcements. So what have we got? To really need more, but that's what we've got at the moment. Well, it's a bit of an odd situation, but I'm going to have to sort of do what I can with it. I think not much for it, but other than to maybe a try at an attack. 1-to-1, 2-to-1, exchange, 11 die roll. Could have been better. But we've got a couple of regiments up here. It's not really enough, but it should at least affect where these go. And what with this sort of reasonably good news here, it's not over. I see. So these are the government ones, and these are the. If you remember that basically there's a tank engagement. These should have appeared here, but they've appeared there. So presumably this is something like 7G, but I actually misread the G. I always do that Q's and G's, and so they've now appeared down here. These should be here for the epic tank battle. So I messed that up. So there's no epic tank battle in this game. I will correct that because it's a simple one to show where these appear. I'm going to actually have to give something to offset this as well. They did actually get things. It's just obviously it's not enough. We'll see. So it's a government turn. Well, considering that they've got this massive stack of tanks, I think they're going to have to use it. To liberate this town. I'm not calculating the odds. This should be overwhelming. 7-to-1 defender eliminated. Good. So that means that we can put our battalion into there to start recovering that. Oh. Okay, so we've got a solid set of units here now for government, which is interesting. But government are in no position to really do anything down here. We could maybe counter-attack there. I think we're just going to move the Ugandan units into there. And possibly with the Ugandan units do a counter-attack into there. Leaving everyone else entrenched. 6-to-1, defender eliminated. Well, that was good. So the rebels have been whittled down a bit. So we've got massive stacks down here. Okay, we're coming up to the end of a 15-minute break, so I won't do any more. Certainly interesting. I think I'll at least give it another go. A long time since I've done a long video, so see you in a bit. We've made some other changes to the base game. So the government forces a little tougher from the beginning. I'd already made. Hopefully it's not overkill, but so it's sort of a different game. Anyway, government turn. they've moved, we've done these units here, so we've got sort of this part of everything. Probably lose that depending on where these units go. Rebels have control of Wartown, but they're still fighting it for this place. And yeah, the rebels lost. We leave him there, but he's recovering. I don't think he's going to go below 1, so next turn more rebels, I believe, or not. Okay, so I don't think they're going to recover any more. What we've got here, this is all armor, isn't it? Look at that. I'm not sure how I want to play this, but I think I'm going to commit everything into going into supporting the attack on Jubal. I mean, I could otherwise maybe try and take this place out and that would free this area. These people could probably do regrouping. I think I am actually going to do that. Get a nice surround. I'm not going to use those little units. This should be a 7-to-1. Yep, 7-to-1 defender eliminate. So that gets rid of the United Nations troops in Akobo. Which means that I can put in just one little unit. Oh, let's just slap everything in there. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to convert it sooner rather than later. The rebels are just going to sit there and recover. I think the rebels are going to address the problem of government troops in this northern area. What's the odds on this going to be? 6, 14, 19, 27. It's going to be about 5-to-1, maybe 6-to-1. 7-to-1 defender eliminated. I mean, that is the sort of result that they needed. Because all of a sudden it takes a front line like that, with a unit threatened, even though there are 2,000 armed units, to a front line like that, pushing these units back that way. There's nothing to keep them there now. Okay, so that's the rebels. Government forces. Any reinforcements? No. Reinforcements. Didn't get anything until I turned 33, so nothing. I mean, we get some Ugandan air support and turn 13, but I don't think that's anything to really hopeful for. So, government forces are stuffed. We've got one depression. I think actually I'm going to chase this unit up. 3-1, defender retreats. This unit's taken a serious pounding, time and time again, keeps retreating into Congo. So you're losing that, it's pain, because it really does free up all these units to go either this way or this way. There's nothing in the south, in the central areas now. Rebel turn. Well, let's see what the scores are there. So I want to recover down there. Leave him to recover, leave him to recover. I do actually want to leave these here for the simple reason that I want to convert that town quickly. You know, it'll go down 8, 12, 13, 14, 22. It'll go down 22 points. So I only really need to sit there for you know, for 2 turns, and that town becomes a rebel town. Because sitting there like this, it's taking forever. These ones are sort of down a fair amount. I mean, this one next turn should be rebel hands. Okay, so a lot of regrouping going on. Government forces. Well, we've recovered that place, which is a start. It looks as though we might have the epic tank battle anyway, because it sort of means that we can send these tanks with these ones in this sort of direction. Leave him to sort of finish up with that town. And of course, the the armour to face it is there. So we will have that armour battle, in theory, unless they decide to head south. But I mean, this is the last hope for the government forces. What's he doing there? Maybe I moved him by mistake. Maybe he's a reinforcement. Oh. Probably have to adjust his strength as well. But I think 5-1, best die roll ever. Defender eliminated. Well, that puts him out of the equation. Government forces will go into cover Nazar. Zara. Okay, so we now have the government now have Melut back. Considering what to do next. We've also got Nazara back. But they have lost now officially Diem. It's now in rebel hands. Okay, well, let's move to face these units off. How much do I need to win there? So, me another 16. So I could move quite a few of these units out. But I don't really want to just yet. I don't want that stack being too vulnerable. Okay, so it's the government move. Taken Melu back. And definitely lost Mayom now and Akobo. Well, there's another 15 minutes gone. I'm not going to make any more moves. Just contemplating whether to attack this unit here. It's just so tight. But stay tuned for more action. Okay. Government forces are stuffed. It's interesting. It's on the border. The border with the border of Ethiopia. Look at that, 0.1 movement left. Well, this is a sort of all or nothing attack. I mean, I'm hoping that maybe 1-1. 3-1, defender retreats. Whoa, government forces do well. Okay, so they're no longer entrenched. Got no movement left there. Minimal there. And no movement left there. Okay, well, that's given them the Prussians at least. It's good. It's to show that the government have not quite lost it. Okay, opposition forces. Well, it might not be enough to destroy it, but I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a win. 5-1, bad die roll, defender retreat. Well, that's interesting because now I get another crack at it. I'm not going to introduce any of these. 7-1, defender eliminated. So, government forces, they had their moment, but they just can't afford to be losing like that. And as a follow-up, let's see where we can get this armor. Okay. The rebel forces down there should be as covered as they're going to get. So let's just have another crack here. Oh, look at that. 1 to 3, attacker retreats. They just don't learn, do they? Sit there for another 10 years recovering. Okay. Well, see what we can do here. 1 to 1 an exchange. Suddenly tightening up in the government's favour. There's a little armour there. I mean, the fact that there's now an engagement in this area, tank engagement of all things, is relieve a bit of strain here, and up here, I mean, they're holding their ground. So there's 1, 2, there's 3 main areas. There's this guy down here that's really just recovering, and he's not about to come back into the game. Not with this unit sat there. And the government aren't really likely to still want to do a big stack of use in there. To start attacking there, the government really only have one choice, and that's to possibly do some damage here. 3 to 1, defender eliminated. Well, there you go. I mean, the government forces use their artillery to really pound on some of these weaker units, leaving essentially them with not quite the upper hand, but it's equal. It's like a game of chess. A rook out. Now we have the same number of big pieces each. There's a sort of equal thing there. Heavily defending there. They're not going to try and do anything clever in this area. Here, I've got some units that I should really maybe try and do something else with them. If I do, I'll leave all this empty and be quite honest. I think I'm going to move. I think I'll be able to move. The zone control thing worked there. The other thing must have been a glitch of some sort. Okay, and these guys are just going to stay there. Okay. Opposition forces. Well, we can certainly push for a greater outflank here. Oh, let's just, we'll take up position here. Just give me some movement left over. Gonna push this unit down this way. Okay, we'll sit on that. Well, I think it's a no-brainer to at least engage in this epic tank battle, which I referred to a while ago. It should be about 2 to 1. 2 to 1, defender retreats, and the rebels win the first major tank battle because that's given them depressions now, so they're now weaker. Depressions 2. And I think he's going to move into there. I think it's tactical reasons he'll remain there. Going to try and recover as much as I can down here. And now second major battle. When these battles don't work, they leave things in a delicate balance. I don't think the artillery piece is set up properly. 1-to-1 defender retreat. So they got a retreat option there, which is good. Now Malakal was actually quite an important place. Sense that it was attacked quite a lot. Centre of a lot of action. So I think he's not got any artillery range, otherwise he should have been in that battle. I'll have to fix that. And that's the rebels. Now turn 13 should see some some Ugandan MiGs. Is there any point? We've just been moved out of Malakal, lost the initiative on the tank battles, and they're holding ground here, but they've got a lot of hope out for that. So what can the government do? Oh look, nothing at all, not really. I suppose something that could be done would be, but the thing is, there's no point doing it unless you hope to sort of gain something from it. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, so there's something about the air power that doesn't work. Right, well that's that. So, opposition player. Not entrenched anymore. Doubled up, so I'm not sure I'm going to go for them this turn. But what I think I might do is try and finish this little stack off. There, depressions 1, 2, and 1. They're not knackered, but there's only 9 manpower in there. Don't even really need to worry about the surround. Just go for them. 4-to-1. Defender retreat, so that's getting better. Okay. That's another turn almost sort of done. I'm not sure that I'm going to really bother much more with this, although it's not. I think pretty much the rebels are going to win. All I need to do is finish that, complete this, the rest will just fall. It's not over yet. I might do another one, but it's quite time consuming. I'll go through for the hell of it. But I might. See you in a bit. Okay, so to some extent I'm hoping this will be the last turn. I have figured out the problem with the artillery. It's actually flagged up as armour, which you can see. I can't move the mouse over that bit, but if you look at it, it says armour. I've changed that on the core files, but I can't be asked to change it on this one. And the thing with the airplanes, I think possibly, to be quite honest, I don't know, maybe there's a glitch, but I think I might have been trying to land them on my own units. We'll see in a bit. So it's the opposition turn. I think they've already sort of done their movement in most places. I'm going to try and recover down here. Depression 2, leave that to recover. So, government forces. Let's just see whether or not the aeroplane. Yeah, the airplane's working. It's just I think what happened was I tried to attack my own unit. So that's that. Now, government forces don't really have much that they can do. I'm not really convinced that a counter-attack against armour and motorised infantry regiment is really on the cards, especially considering that UN troops probably don't want to support that. So what they can do, I don't know. Possibly do. They're not depressed in any way. See if this airstrike will go in against that. Yes, I doubt we're going to get much against it, but 1 to 2, no result. It could have been a depression there, so it wasn't entirely wasted. But yep, so we've still got movement. The UN are going to support this action. They've still got some movement. This is looking interesting. Well, let's see whether the government forces at the last moment can achieve anything. Three to 1, defender retreats. If we'd had another unit, could have eliminated that unit, but that's that. Oh no, we retreated there. Depressions 2. Oh, it's fully moved. There's plenty of scope for an additional assault on this. These mobile government units. 3 to 1, and another retreat, putting them up to 4 depressions. So the government forces have now at least re-entered Akobo and caused a retreat on this armoured regiment. Doesn't really put the rebels out of the game in any way, considering they're uncontested up here now. This unit, as before, is now trying to bring whatever he can to relieve the capital, Jubal. So that's that. Rebel forces. Well, took a pounding down here. I'm going to bring this one into play because he should get a 9 factor. If he thinks it's armor, he'll get 9. fraction of movement left, means he can join that assault. This little guy, I think, is going to join the assault there. This little guy is going to he's going to stay there. The rebel forces are definitely in control of the ball. I mean, is this possible? For that sort of length, 2-1. An exchange, well, it's not so bad because anything that slows the government forces down is good. And of course, let's commit this attack. I'm more interested in really just, if I can, eliminating this unit. Every piece that's eliminated, defender eliminated, yeah? 7-1 odds. Okay, so that's the end of that turn. So the rebel forces have almost complete control of most of the north and the west of South Sudan. This is one little pocket of resistance down here and the capital. Now, I think these guys, well, he's not even depressed anymore. Sort of doing as well as they can. What am I doing? This is government moving rebel units. Okay, so the government, depression 4, depression 1 with this artillery unit, no depressions on this armoured unit. I think what we're going to do, because these are depressed 3, is drive south towards Jabal, see if we can take out an armoured regiment. 4-1, defender eliminated. So that paves the way south. There's only one town up here that's not contested now. And ironically, the government now just walks straight back into Bor, which constantly swapped hands in history. So okay, well, that gives us a little bit of a line there. Okay, so that's rebel turn 15. So it's about the 29th of December. Not even 2014 yet. Okay, well, rebel forces are going to prepare now for the assault on the capital. I think it's a fresh reinforcement. Okay, so now I've got the main bulk of this offensive force. No depressions. No depressions. No depressions. No depression. Two depression there. Yeah, 0. So basically he's got one depression. So they're in a fairly good order. He's got one depression. The armed units have got 2. I think I can commit them. Going south. It's quite a strong line. Movement for that. Okay, so that faces us off. Whether we assault into there is something else. He's got one depression against him. I think it's worth it. 2 or 3 to 1 maybe. 3 to 1 in exchange. That's quite a nice result. Keeps the line there, sort of almost believable. That's the end of that. Government forces for 30 seconds to go, so I'm going to save this for the next video. I think the government forces here are going to try and push south, try and get an angle on the capital and hurt some of these units. That's all I think that can be done. I've got obviously the MiG-21 there. We'll see. It's another video. Okay, so the rebels are really pushing down. They have absolutely everything in the north, and they are now pushing the government down to Bor and Jubal. It's not even tight. It's obviously one of those situations where a lot of morale checks would be probably expected. However, not in this case. Not yet. I've got morale sorted out. I won't bore with the details as I've already mentioned them briefly elsewhere. But morale will come into play at some point. A simple process. But what to do for the government? I think I'm going to tanks on the flank. Well, this is where I'm going, so let's see whether we can cause any oppression. 1-to-1, that could have been better. Anything would have helped. Okay, let's see whether we can remove a unit. I mean, this is all we can really hope for at the moment. So he's worth 5. He's got a depression of 1, which means it's 4.5. So I'm 6. Depression 14. Possibly a 3-to-1. I don't want to upset these people that are all dug in. So 4-to-1, defender retreats. So that's not too bad. Although he retreated back there. I think he's going to move back this way. And he is going to assist the flank here. Movement left. Not enough. Okay, well that's pretty much all until they sort of commit. I mean, there's really nothing in there to commit. There isn't nothing at all. So at some point they're going to have to start doing some fighting as well. Okay. I wonder why this isn't bringing down the morale here. Okay. So it's the rebels, the opposition. And essentially I don't think they're really worried about anything. Now they were trying to get the outflank here, but I don't think they're going to complete that with all of these government units here. I think the best they can hope for is to move steadily southward. No idea. The odds are 2-to-1 in exchange. So putting that armour in there was a good idea. Boar has. What's he doing there? Huh. That was a bit of a pain. I didn't realise I hadn't moved him in. Oh well. Could have been a 3-to-1. Could have been a different story. I just didn't get there in time. Obviously radio problems. I'm tempted to sort of try and take this unit out, but I don't want to really lose my dug in positions there because they will become entrenched. I think I've got time on my hands. Other than I don't have time because obviously it's taking forever. Yeah, now he's contested that, so they're all contested apart from these places here. Government forces. What do they do? It's interesting really because he's only worth 2. I think I can most definitely put some pressure on that. What's his armor like? His armor's got depression of 3. So I could go in there at possibly 2, 3 to 1, maybe 4 to 1. This way I can get 2 to 1 and possibly take this unit out. Let me put my air power onto there. Third time lucky, get something. 1 to 1 and nothing. So meters are not very good. Okay, so I am going to commit myself here. I know it's not ideal because that should be artillery and it should be in the front line like that. 5 to 1, defender retreat, which is okay. That's interesting. Okay, let's try this attack now. Or, back to the game. How much movement does this unit have left? Nothing. So this should be perhaps better than nothing. 3 or 4 to 1. 3 to 1, defender eliminated. The government forces are really packing in there with their last breath. I mean, that leaves them with only really 3 big units here now. In fact, that has changed the game. That has to have changed the game. They no longer have overwhelming odds, and with this little guy running away, it's a depression 3. I'm feeling lucky. I'm feeling very lucky. It's going to be a 1 to 1 or possibly a 2 to 1. Well, an exchange, but it was a 1 to 2. Perhaps I was also depressed. That's a shame. At least it's pushed his depressions up to 4. And whilst I'm at depression 2, I can recover. He won't be able to recover beyond 2. I could have actually engaged in that combat. Okay. Government units. The rebels. It's not easy being a rebel. And look, I could move this guy, stack him there, and this will change the game. Obviously, a lot of blood, 1 to 1, and an exchange. That I wasn't really thinking clearly, but obviously he's in town. Obviously he's in the city. So a desperate assault by the rebels failed. Now I think that the rebels really are going to have no choice but to launch a desperate assault against Jabal. You know, this is desperate because the tide has turned. 1 to 3. Did I read that right? Can I go backwards? 1 to 3, attacker eliminated. Yeah, that's right. In my books, attacker eliminated means they will vanish. This is outstanding because now the rebels pretty much have nothing on the map. I mean, they're going to have to. These were just little piddly units to eat away at objective values, and now they're going to have to rely on those to bolster up their offensive capabilities. Unbelievable. Well, I mean, all the action is happening down here. We have no choice but to head south. Okay. So it's now January 2013. Government forces, jubilant at the turn of turn of tide there, now considering. I'm going to press 0. And I've got the Ugandan troops with the UN troops are going to take out this unit here. So the UN and the Ugandan troops with these. Well, no, I don't need that. I think this should be 7-1. Yep, defender eliminated. Well, absolutely astounding. I was convinced that the government were going to lose this, and now I can't see the rebels winning. That's that. There's this unit here, perhaps, to consider next. So if I move into the jungle here, and then move out of here, I'm going to leave that there to keep the front. Let's see, what's his depression factor? Depression 3, it's worth going for it. Come on, let's see. I've not had any results from the air power yet, even a few 1-to-1s. But the tide has turned, definitely, and I'm feeling fairly optimistic that I should get something out of this. I'm not even calculating the odds, but surely it's going to be good. 5-to-1, defender eliminated. Well, coming to the end of another 15-minute block. I think at the end of the last one I was convinced that the government were going to lose, and now I'm convinced that the rebels are going to lose because they've only really got 4 units on the table with a bunch of companies. What a turnaround. Well, I'm going to play this one more game. It'll take a while for that to sort out, so stay tuned. Here we are in the final exciting stages of the first playthrough of the South Sudanese Civil War. I'm beginning to regret that I beefed up the government forces in the core game, thinking the rebels were going to walk over. It's going to be a walkover for the rebels. I'd have to watch the video because I don't understand how it's turned around like it has. It's going to be an interesting video. Okay. Well, it's government forces' turn. Movement 4, movement 3, movement 1. What can I do? Let's got some movements. Improve that line there a bit. Movement. Not enough movement. Got some movement. Let's keep it a short, strong line. Okay. 1st of January, I think. I think the rebels would have routed by now. They just don't stand a chance. Got some reinforcements there. I don't want to leave these exposed on a flank. Push them in there. They might go in there. The rebels. To be quite honest, there's nothing for them to attack. I mean, that's worth 9 in there, 18. So they could get 14. They could possibly get a 1-to-1 there, but they've got depressions, haven't they? Depression 5, for example. Depression 5. Depression 4. Depression 4 could be worth attacking into there. Two to one, defender retreats. That's what war's all about. Now, I don't think they want to advance, but that's broken that line a bit. They could advance, and that might make an assault on this a little more appealing. With the flank. Depression 3, Depression 2. That would be 8, 14, 23, 28. That'd be a 1-to-1. That could possibly be a 2-to-1. Possibly stretch a 2-to-1 in this. This would be the final battle. Exchange. Well, maybe not the final battle, but that would have been one way or the other. Any other result, that would have been the end of whatever. One way or the other. But it's interesting because the front line is definitely very dynamic. I just think the rebels really didn't need to do that. I mean, I think it's over for the rebels because it's now the government turn. And first things first, an airstrike on what? I think we're going to have to really try and take this unit out. He's already at Depression 5. These airplanes actually have guns, and they're just sort of carrying banners that say "Drink at Freddy's" or something. Those sorts of planes would have no effect like this. Okay. Well, I think it's another. Definitely got to try and wipe that unit out. He's worth 3.5 because he's depressed. My units are heavily depressed as well. So it's not a walk over. What's it going to be? I don't know. Seven to one, defender eliminated. I thought it would be something like that, but I didn't really think it would be that high. Very good. So, depression 6. Let's push whatever we can into there. Seven to one, defender eliminated. Well, I think that we're definitely just steamrolling over the rebels now. We're almost just going where we want, fighting where we want, and advancing without consideration. Depression 2 is a tough one, but I'm just going to go for it. I'm just feeling so flush. 6 to 1, defender eliminated. Yep, I mean, it's all adding up to, I mean, all that's left are use with guns. There's nothing bigger than a company that's not a bunch of children. Well, I think that no matter how I do it, that's got to be a day. There's no way that the rebels want to fight anymore. I mean, I think at this time they will have surrendered. I mean, they own most of the north. They own this town, forming a line back here, which is probably of no value whatsoever. You then get the government turned, and to be quite honest, it is about this time that the government started to turn around. Although it goes on until the 23rd of January, there were still some battles around the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th of January. But really, after that time, they had completely won anyway. And I think we can sort of assume that this is a similar sort of situation. Well, I'm sort of guessing here, but I think we can definitely just push straight through. 7 to 1, defender eliminated. I mean, it did take up to the 23rd for the government to remove all the remaining rebels from the little villages and things, which I think is pretty much what we've got going on here. I'm just moving them forward just to get that extra bit of space. And the rebels are definitely going to just fall back. Probably as far back as they can go. Government forces, well, they've got hairy planes. Oh, look at that, 3-1. Defend your retreat, we got something. They finally decided to perform. Let's try my luck. Defender eliminated. Oh, let's see, depression 2. Let's just try this one. 7-1, defender retreats. Get these motorized units in there. Oh, look at that. I didn't realise it still had something in it. Defender eliminated. So that is official. I mean, other than going around and recovering all their towns, the government forces have no resistance. Supported, obviously, by the Ugandan troops and air force. I think that's quite an astonishing gameplay, really. 21 turns. I'm quite happy with this. I think the map needs some attention. I think a little more attention to the unit structure. Hopefully the changes I've made aren't going to make it too dissimilar to the playthrough I just had there. I fixed the little tweaks. The artillery unit that wasn't registered as artillery. But I think that's actually one of those games that fits into the slots of being competitive. As I said, I don't know what the changes are, but that was certainly could have gone both ways. It's gone away historically. And so obviously remember, if you want to try your luck at that game, you can play it. All you do is sign up as a member. Let's see if you can do better.